Our focus is on the Victorian election. Daniel Andrews, a very short price favourite to stay in power, but funnier things have happened. Joining me live is former Victorian Premier Steve Bracks. Now, Steve, I am a betting man. I've looked at the price and if I've read it right, $1.12. So Daniel Andrews should be Premier by tonight again.
Yes, I think he will. It looks as though actually there is a bit of a late surge to Labor. If you look at today's Newspoll in the Australian, it's actually got Daniel Andrews on 54.5, which is the highest it's been during the campaign. That would mean a swing away from Labor of a couple of percent, maybe 3%. But I think it's going to be patchy. We're going to get different results in different parts of the state. Clearly, in some of Labor's heartland, we'll see some bigger swings against Labor. Probably not enough to lose the seats, not many seats. We'll see Teals do well in some of the inner city suburbs, particularly around some of the Liberal seats that are held like Kew. And we'll see some country independents get up as well. So I think it's going to be patchy. But overall, I think there'll be a majority there for Labor by the counting later tonight.
Of course, many people from all over Australia are watching this coverage and they're watching it with interest. He is such a polarising figure, Daniel Andrews.
Yes, I mean, there's not many undecideds. It's roughly about half-half, actually, in Victoria. Half actually love him, you know, I stand with Dan, and about half want to get rid of him, you know. So it's pretty evenly divided. But the Labor brand is pretty good in Victoria, and we saw that at the federal election. As a counter, I think the Liberals haven't recovered really from the federal election here in Victoria. It looks as though their vote will be pretty static, much the same. They've got a recycled leader. That hasn't helped. And of course, they've had story after story of candidates who look like they shouldn't be there. And in fact, Matthew Guy's had to disendorse a couple of candidates who have infiltrated from the religious right in the party and have percolated up to be candidates. And that's been a bit of a problem and distraction for them. So they need to get back to the midstream in Victoria. They need to look at the sort of talent they're recruiting, and I don't think they're going to come back until they do that.
Our chief anchor, Kieran Gilbert, moderated the People's Forum the other night. What did you make of that with both leaders, having to answer questions from the public?
Yeah, look, I thought it was pretty even, actually, Tim. I thought it was probably a marginal win to Daniel on the night, but he's a seasoned performer. He's a very good debater, and that's pretty evident. He's someone who can get his message out pretty easily. But it was pretty close, and Matthew Guy did well too. And I think it hit on some of the key issues: health, integrity, some of the transport issues. And yeah, I thought it was a pretty even split, actually.
What do you make of Dan Andrews? You would have seen him coming through the ranks as a young man.
Yeah, in fact, Tim, when I first won in '99, he was in the Labor Party headquarters in Melbourne as a assistant secretary and organiser, if you like. So I saw him firsthand there, and his ability and capabilities were second to none. And then, of course, he came in as a member of Parliament in my second term in 2002 in the seat of Mulgrave, and I actually appointed him a minister pretty early on when he was very young. You know, I could see the talent coming forward. I could tell this guy was going somewhere, and that's where he got his start, really. And he became health minister in the previous governments that I led, and John Brumby, and now, he's taken it all before him.
Now, I have family in Melbourne, lots of friends. It's been a very challenging few years, and there's lots of issues. The health system, not the least of them. It's a challenging year ahead as well, isn't it? Hugely, with cost of living.
Totally, yeah. Oh, no, very challenging year ahead, Tim. You're right, cost of living is a big issue. Health, the recovery after COVID of the health system. We're seeing this not just around Australia, we're seeing it around the world. The pressure on the health system is enormous. So there's a fair, whoever wins tonight, it's going to be tough going, I think, in the next couple of years to fund effectively a health system, to look at really how you can tackle cost of living. And it's not that much the state can do really on cost of living issues. It's really largely at a federal level, but these are going to be ongoing issues for the next couple of years.
If it goes the way that we think it's going to go and Daniel Andrews retains power in Victoria, what happens to Matthew Guy? Does he stay or does he go?
It's an interesting question. Look, a lot depends on how well he goes. I mean, if he gets a swag of seats, wins, let's say he wins somewhere between 7 and 10, Labor still gets in because 11-seat loss tips minority governments. Let's say he gets 10. That would be seen as a credible result, and I suspect he'd have a good chance of staying as a result. But he needs to do well. He needs to get close to do well and survive. If he doesn't make a big dent this time, well, I think he's had 2 goes, and that's probably it. So a lot depends on the Liberal Party performance tonight and whether he can move the dial a bit.
Yeah, it's a big day. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
I appreciate it. Thank you.